Hello and welcome to Gradient's weekly roundup of business and financial news in Sri Lanka for the week ending 14th January 2022. First, a look at this week's headlines. S&P downgrades Sri Lanka credit rating, outlook negative. Chinese Foreign Minister signs 4 agreements during visit to Sri Lanka. Central Bank allocates $500 million to meet ISP payment. Goods and Services Tax and Amendment to VAT gazetted. Sri Lanka receives nearly 30,000 tourists in the first 10 days of 2022. In this week's top story, Standard & Poor's downgraded Sri Lanka's long-term sovereign credit rating to CCC from CCC+. The outlook was deemed negative, citing continued pressure on the currency from liquidity injections, though reserves were boosted with a swap from China. Key points noted by S&P include further pressure on foreign exchange resources in the coming quarters by external sovereign debt maturities and current account requirements, rising probability of foreign default scenarios over the next 12 months in the absence of an unforeseen positive development. Negative outlook reflects expectation of further deteriorating external financial position, affecting next 12 months debt servicing. Restructuring commercial debt may result in rating downgrade. The $1.2 billion relief package proposed in January weakens fiscal position and worsens risks associated with debt. Moreover, S&P noted it may revise the outlook or upgrade the rating if reserves significantly increase or the economy sees considerable recovery. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka countered S&P's decision, issuing a statement stating that it reassures all stakeholders, including the international investor community, that Sri Lanka remains committed to honoring all forthcoming obligations and maintain its unblemished record of debt servicing. According to the Chinese embassy in Sri Lanka, Wang Yi, Foreign Minister of China, signed 4 agreements during his brief visit to Sri Lanka recently. The agreements include a $125 million grant for food, medicine and infrastructure, construction of 2,000 housing units for low-income families in Colombo, refurbishment of the BMICH conference hall and provision of kidney disease screening units in ambulances. The Foreign Minister also graced the opening of the Port City Marina Promenade, a 500-meter public walking path. According to Ajit Niwad Cabral, Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, the Central Bank has allocated $500 million to repay the international sovereign bond maturing on January 18, 2022. Post this, Sri Lanka has another $3.9 billion in principal and interest to be paid in 2022, with a debt obligation of $13.7 billion due between 2023 and 2026. Many in the corporate sector, several economists and industry analysts emphasize that the January ISB payment should not be made and that the country's limited dollars should be used to purchase essential items for the country's citizens. Moreover, it was revealed that the central bank had sold $207 million worth of gold in December last year. As of December 2021, reserves were recorded at $3.1 billion, sufficient for about 2 months of import. The government gazetted the Special Goods and Services Tax Bill introduced in the November budget. The bill aims to simplify the existing tax structure by avoiding the current multiple tax regime and also encourages self-compliance in the payment of taxes. Special GST liable sectors include liquor, cigarettes, vehicles, telecommunication services, betting and gaming. The rate is yet to be disclosed and a bill is to be presented in Parliament in January. Moreover, the increase of value-added tax to 18% from 15% applicable on the supply of financial services on financial institutions was also gazetted. According to the SLTDA, 29,420 tourists visited Sri Lanka in the first 10 days of 2022. Most number of arrivals were from Russia, followed by India, Ukraine, Germany, UK, Kazakhstan, Maldives, Australia, France and Poland. According to Prasanna Ranatunga, Minister of Tourism, Sri Lanka is anticipating 100 to 125,000 tourists a month during the first quarter of this year, despite Omicron concerns. In 2021, the country attracted 194,495 tourists, with December recording 89,506 arrivals, the highest for a month since the onset of the pandemic in March 2020. Recently, CNN Travel placed the city of Colombo in its list of best destinations to visit in 2022, stating that it's time to pay attention to the city's underrated design destinations. In other news this week, Sri Lanka approved the move to import 300,000 metric tons of rice from Myanmar to beef up depleting stocks as crop losses are expected due to the use of organic fertilizer. Under the approval, 200,000 metric tons of Nadu rice and 100,000 tons of GR11 short grain rice are to be imported. Exports in November reached $1.2 billion, breaching the $1 billion mark for the sixth consecutive month. Apparel exports were $496 million, up 53% year-on-year, whilst rubber product exports grew 47% to $102.2 million. Tea exports followed with a growth of 22% to $117 million. Total merchandise exports from January to November were $11.1 billion, up 22% year-on-year. The Chinese embassy in Colombo removed Sri Lanka's People's Bank from its placement on the blacklist. This was followed by Sri Lanka's payment of $6.9 million for the organic fertilizer shipment from China's Qingdao Biotech Group that had initially fallen short of the state institution's quality standards but was subsequently cleared by an independent entity. The initial quality issue had led to a court decision being taken prohibiting People's Bank from honoring the letter of credit. And now let's take a look at the weekly movement of the all-share price index and the S&P SL20 index at the Colombo Stock Exchange. Here's how the rupee performed against the dollar this week. In other market news, the initial public offering of Hella Apparel Holdings opened on the 12th January, where the company offered approximately 267 million ordinary voting shares at 15 rupees per share. The issue, amounting to 4 billion rupees, is equivalent to a 20.5% stake in the company. Amana Bank shareholding structure underwent a change with the purchase of 176.8 million shares by Dr. T. Senthivel in a deal worth 672 million rupees. The stake was purchased at 3 rupees and 80 cents a share, making Dr. Senthivel the second largest shareholder of the bank, holding a 10% stake. IB Growth Fund remains the largest stakeholder of the bank. And that's a wrap for this week. Until we see you again next week, thank you for watching and stay safe.